Mighty Number 9 race? Yes, this game's actually a Mighty Number 9 race? Yes, this game's actually pretty good. We've got Creed, you got to remind me who's on the schedule here. We got Tempest and Tempest's friend. I'm terrible. I'm sorry.
Hello, everyone. It's your boy LV Creed here, joining with Mr. Cap for this. It's gonna be a very good race of Mighty Number 9, a game that shouldn't be underestimated. Of course, we know that Tempest is doing it, but also one of the best runners in the game, JP, gonna be running it as well. We're looking for a good time.
Yeah, it's JP. I'm so sorry about that. That is totally on me. It's just been a busy morning. But yeah,
it's fine. All good.
No, I got to call myself out on it. I deserve it. But yeah, no, Mighty Number 9, despite some of its reputation, is actually a really good speed game. It's really fun as long as you're not playing it on one of those. I mean, I don't know if I could call the Wii U and a PlayStation 3 an older console.
But it's a console that can handle it. Playing on a PS3, I should know that. But yeah, we should be heading along. So if our boys can just get set up so we can get going.
You got it.
Yep.
So JP, I assume we're doing English dub, both of us?
Yeah, I haven't changed it up.
Okay.
So
sounds good to me. Just a quick little footnote. JP and I are running any %, which is done on the normal difficulty of the game. We'll explain a little bit about what that entails as we go along, or rather, Cab and Creed will do most of the talking. JP and I will pipe up if we decide to chip something in. Aside from that, we're also running on the PC version, which is the most optimized version of the game. And I think that's about it. So time will begin once we select our difficulty.
All right, so if our two boys are pretty much ready to go, we should begin the countdown. JP, Tempest, y'all good?
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, so countdown in 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
Wait, what?
So Mighty Number 9, for the unawares, was kind of a Mega Man clone that got kickstarted kind of in the early 20-teens. Few years after Mega Man 10 was starting to become a distant memory, and it is it's pretty close to Mega Man. We do have some extra moves here. You see them early on in this run, starting with this back dodge that really is the fastest way to get moving until you get the dash. I believe it's the accelerate.
Yes, we start. But now we're doing the action shift, which is what which was done until we now finally got our accelerate dash. So when we're talking about attacking and combat in Mighty Number 9, we do have a pea shooter, but our pea shooter actually is kind of weaker. So it's kind of more of a setup weapon. As you can see, it's more of a setup to get our enemies weakened. So we actually use our dash as our killing blow. And as you can see, when you kill specific enemies, they actually give out power-ups with kind of powers up Beck, who's our main character here, under specific states. Our yellow ones that you see one of our runners using is like extra defense. There's one for extra attacking, which is our red, and extra speed, which is green. There are blue acceleration cells, which you can see on the under the health bar. That's actually our energy tank that we can use at any given time.
So the air dash, just the dash in this game, can be done just infinitely in the air. We will maybe, as speedrunners, take advantage of that later on. Otherwise, kind of like Creed was saying, we want to use these extra power-ups to our advantage. Just have the extra speed, have the extra attack power. We have our first boss here, which kind of has a similar mechanic to pretty much all the enemies. You just want to pummel them with shots until they hit sort of a weakened state, and then that accelerate dash sort of kind of absorbs the Zells, which are almost like the robot cells in this game's universe, and that's what permanently does damage to them so that they can't actually recover.
Yeah, we already seen JP take out our first boss. As you're looking at least on Tempest's screen, this is actually the main method that we how to defeat bosses. You use whatever weapon. Of course, we got a pea shooter to start off and start draining our weapons. After a given amount of time, the damage decrease, the damage stops, and you're supposed to use your dash to actually do permanent damage. If Cap had mentioned that already. So that's how you eventually kill bosses, and you continue with that process until our bosses are dead. But now that we're out of the intro stage, now we get into the main meat of our quote-unquote 8 robot masters. And let's see if JP's able to do it. Yes, he was. So we talked about the action shift, that little backdash that they were doing earlier before we got our dash. That actually has some interesting properties that winds up becoming a little bit of a special thing, a kind of a glitch that Beck is able to do. This is our invincibility glitch. So for some reason, when you do an action shift, especially from dropping from an exploded object from the ground, you actually maintain those invincibility frames. And when doing so, you can maintain them for an extended period of time, but it's not permanent. Ooh. Tempe is unfortunately touching the pink. Long story short, pink is bad everywhere, so don't touch the pink.
Yeah,
but yeah,
even if invincibility frames are active, we can't do anything about that. So it's basically the Mega Man 1 effect, as I like to call it.
Yeah. Full agree on the Mega Man 1 effect.
But yeah, the invisibility effect pretty much stops after most transitions, especially after those little kill screen rooms. But yeah, if you continue on for their Cap.
I mean, yeah, like Reed was saying, we have some invincibility if you're basically able to knock back off of one of the platforms when you started to do that action shift. I like to compare it almost to Mega Man X6. The game just forgets to make him vulnerable again. And so you can take advantage of that pretty much up until the next sort of gate or otherwise like screen locking stoppage when the game sort of resets and says, oh yeah, we should do something about this. And that makes it really easy to just dash through a whole lot of things. And then the game just becomes focused on this air dash and this beautiful platforming we have. So the game, this is Mighty Number 9. Beck is Mighty Number 9. This boss, Mighty Number 5. Creed, you remember his name? I know he's like the military robot here.
I was about to say, this is a battalion that we're fighting.
Yeah.
So right now we don't want battalion to be in the air too much. We always want our bosses grounded. Good duck. Under that is the instant kill missile, by the way.
Yep.
Oh, he went for the swag method. Of course he did.
I've said it multiple times. If I ever get hit by that, I'm gonna stop speedrunning.
The game says nice play, so I mean, you can't really blame him on that.
But yeah, as you mentioned, we just pretty much plug away with our bullets. When the energy stops decreasing, use our acceleration dash to have the damage remain permanent. The health will regenerate over a period of time if you don't do the acceleration dash. And just like in Mega Man fashion, we beat our boss, we get their weapon, and we're good to go to the next stage. Where, we start battalion for the weapon. It's that good.
Yeah. There's a few other games out there. Like, I love Mega Man 8. You get Grenade Man's weapon. And it's out there. You get the weapon with the giant explosion, and it turns out it's actually really good. Same thing here. Battalion's weapon is just really strong, and I'm not sure if JP got it, but that was a setup to get more invincibility frames. Just like we said also earlier, you gotta watch out for the pink, and looks like he is going through enemies, so he's got it. The instant kill obstacles will still get you, although not all the instant kill enemies will. Just like that. Just go right through this drill. I still kind of remember the first time I saw that in a submitted speedrun video, and I was like, what the hell just happened? What? And life was changed forever. So, about weapon energy for a second there. It does kind of come back on its own. Every time you defeat an enemy, pretty much you do get some weapon energy back, that yellow bar underneath the life meter. And, Battalion's weapon is just too strong.
Yeah, it has excellent ammo consumption, so you can pretty much just spam it for a good little bit. And of course, when you get through enemies and get your energy restored. This is why Battalion was one of the first in bosses to do. And of course, one of the interesting little aspects, if you go to a boss where the weakness is, that mighty number winds up coming up and decide to help you. And in case of Seismic, who is our boss that we're fighting right now, it actually saves time because you would normally wait for that drill to continue the path on the way to the boss. So you get some time saved that way. Meanwhile, for Seismic, of course, we got a weakness weapon. We using our Battalion missiles to pretty much just carve through Seismic. Yeah, as you can see, JP just decimated Seismic. There is a way to do extra damage to Seismic if you're able to get him under the little pillars, especially the second set of pillars that come in around half health. Not really dependable, so the best aspect is just do the simple try and true method and just plug them away with missiles and continue on the fight.
Yeah, by the time you get any sort of setup there, you probably could have just dismantled him with the weakness weapon anyway. So yes, kind of Mega Man 1-ish as well. Like, the robots are actually all good. They've just been corrupted by some force that's making them act out, as it were. So, like Creed said, the mighty numbers do appear in the stages that they're super effective against. Sort of a hint to the player, by the way, you might want to try this out, but also kind of showing a little bit of that plot of, hey, they're actually trying to help out once you snap them out of it. So this is Brandish's stage, and as you might expect, we beat a bomb man, we beat a guts man. Wait a minute, what am I saying? So Brandish has swords. He's on the highway here. Don't get splatted on the pavement. It's going to be bad. But otherwise, whew, air dashing over car gaps is fun, if not terrifying at times.
Yep, and with permanent air dashing, you pretty much just got to just continue to keep the air dashing pretty much real tight as you go from vehicle to vehicle, making sure you don't get caught on the pavement, where, as Cap said, is not the best thing in the world to do. But we got JP just going through it once again. Missiles at the forefront, about to go into our kill screen room, where of course the name of the game is just kill things as fast as you can.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Tempest taking care of Seismic, getting Seismic weapon. Well, speaking of Seismic weapon, would you like to describe how Seismic weapons work, Cap?
Seismic's weapon kind of turns you into a little bit of a bulldozer kind of thing, and you just speed forward, which itself is A, fast, and B, kind of effective. You can plow through the weaker enemies, you can bounce and stomp off the stronger enemies, and just the Seismic dozer is really strong and just fun to use. And if there were more straightaways in this game, if the bomb wasn't quite as OP as it was, I mean, there are still a couple of screens I like to just use it on for fun anyway. Looks like JP got the invincibility glitch, which is great because, as we've been alluding to, that the pavement is a pit. It's instant kill. Don't land on it. So every time you have to dash over a gap in the air, you just don't want to have anything knocking you out of the sky. Just makes it a lot easier this way. So there's Brandish.
Unfortunately, Tempest did so live a proof and concept about why touch of the pavement is bad. And of course, as Cap was alluding to, Brandish is not trying to make it any easier for JP to try to navigate through these cars. You gotta feel for the poor people that are getting into these cars, just actually getting sliced and destroyed.
Yeah.
And trying to get Beck killed in the process.
Beck's just kind of hanging out, watching as all of these innocent bystanders just have all their cars destroyed. I guess that's okay. I don't know.
Real quick, I'd like to point out a couple of things. First, during my Mick fight, I actually proved that he's the only mighty number that you can perform the infinite, sorry, not infinite, the iframe glitch on, as I used one of the boxes that he spawned.
Hang on, we got the Brandish fight going on over here on the other side.
Yeah, that's all.
We gotta see if we get this.
Nope.
It's possible to kind of stop Brandish from doing his desperation move, but it looks like we didn't quite get it.
That'll be the day if I ever get it.
I've gotten it, but it's so inconsistent.
I got it in my last marathon, first time ever in a marathon too, but...
Yeah, if you can figure out how to make that consistent, please let us know, because you'll save 20 seconds off of damn near everybody's time.
Definitely not consistent. I've noticed that being aggressive, I net it way more often. I have no idea why, so I have to check what's causing it. But yeah.
But yeah, that was Brandish Down in a nutshell. You get a pretty swingy sword. Of course, we use seismic weapon as mentioned to wait, Cav, you kind of mentioned this. We kind of had a Gustman, we had a bomb man. And that Gust style weapon took out a cut man.
Someone with blade, and so we got an electricity. That's the word. Beam. Yeah.
And guess what it's weak to? A little bit of an illusion going on here, but keep going, Cap.
No, I mean that's mostly it. So one other thing I want to throw out here, battalion stage. So the first one we went to was actually the first demo stage that came out. I believe this was the third demo stage that came out. There were only 3 demo stages, so I'm only off by 1 if I'm off. And I mostly remember that because we're gonna see a section here that's a little infamous. Most of the movement in this stage is pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of what you expect. We're using these giant explosions to overwhelm our enemies with offense. We're dashing through things. But we're about to see some giant pink turbines, and as Creed said earlier, pink bad. Pink very, very bad, because pink is the insta-kill spike killer. And we have kind of the only instance of this game of being required. I'm going to put emphasis on required, because JP's already done it once against the Battalion. To hold down, to make that dash kind of be more of a slide than a dash, to lower its hitbox down. And it's like the infamous Mega Man 5 Game Boy kind of like 2-tile slides under spikes when you only slide 3.5 tiles. So, yeah, this is a stage.
Yeah, it was the only, I think it was the only time where in like previous updates where the game actually took the time to show you that you have to press down and the dash button in order to get by those turbines. It was that infamous.
I still can't believe they actually left it in right here. That's it. It looks so easy when somebody who knows what's there and knows what they're doing does it. But even still, that has some like worst room in the game vibes to it. Tempest dealing with Brandish here, just dancing on his head. You can see the bulldozer effect just jumping on top of Brandish, and it looks great. Stompy, stompy, stompy.
Yeah, it forces his mixed power does force Brand's blades to break, so it does make him something of a, I like to say, semi-manipulable fight. Also, a quick shout out. So this game was kickstarted, famously known to have been kickstarted, and in the first section of this highway stage, there were some signs that some of the backers, including Egoraptor from the Game Grumps, had contributed some artwork to some of the highway signs.
Meanwhile, we've seen Donatron taken out by the Battalion Blades. The Blades will pretty much just take out those little bits. Those bits will only be sticking to Beck, and if Donna was able to attack, it will shoot electricity that will stab straight onto Beck. So, of course, the Brandish Blades will annihilate them. The Brandish Blade also having an extra ability where you can, if you do specific motion inputs, you get extra kind of blade abilities like the downward slash that you saw JP do just a little while earlier. And weakness used on Donna, we're done with that stage, and we're going to another one of those slightly more infamous stages in Counter Shade stage.
Yep, this stage is supposed to be kind of finding the sniper, and they went with kind of a unique design choice here. I mean, I say that I actually do appreciate what they tried. It just needs a couple of tweaks to be really good. The problem with this stage more than anything is there's no checkpoints. So we're just kind of hunting for Counter Shade, and if you eat a death, we have to do the entire thing all over again. There are some kind of known locations where he's going to be, and what we're trying to do here, just in the classic fashion of a lot of other enemies like this, where they go one place and they run away, they go one place, they run away. Counter Shade really does have a life meter under the covers here. So if you can hit him with specific attacks in a specific sequence, you can manipulate it so that you're basically done in 3 cycles instead of 4 cycles. If you don't get it, oh well, you go to the 4th cycle anyway, no big deal. It's just that then you have to deal with more of the stage, including some of these sort of instant kill pink trap wires, which is more than anything why there's really a problem with the stage.
Yeah, it's a case of this stage being as fast as you make it to be. Of course, when you get to the next stage, once again, since we're going to weakness order, you will have Dinah come in and probably shut down some of those instant kill trip wires. But of course, since we're trying to go fast, we're not trying to get to that point to begin with. But now going to the counter shade fight with Donatron's weapon in tow, you see that you're trying to connect all of the bits so you can try to do maximum damage. Of course, since Donatron's weapon uses a lot of energy, you're trying to balance it out with your pea shooter to try to get the health as low as possible so you can do your acceleration dashes to beat counter shade as quickly as possible.
It's also worth noting, because with Dynatron's weapon active, you don't really notice it. Counter Shade has a cloaking device of sorts. So usually when he's hopping around that room, he's invisible. By attaching those sort of Dynatron electrodes to him and damaging him, that prevents that cloaking device from working and makes that fight just look as trivial as it was. You do have to kind of connect with them all, like Creed said. Connecting with them all, it comes out sort of in a spreader shot. So the more of them that connect, obviously, the more damage you're going to do. Very nice Dyna fight from Tempest.
Yeah,
oh, baby.
Keep track with all of our runners, keeping up with the progress. Tempest being a little stage, just a stage behind, but still making good progress. Meanwhile, JP, probably on my favorite stage, even though it's most dangerous, definitely probably my favorite track in the game, and Aviator stage. Having probably the best mighty number, no question. I will not take any arguments.
Thanks, Avi.
Thanks, Avi.
Thanks, Avi.
Avi is in universe sort of a eye in the sky reporting robot of sorts, and goes full on stream commentator as flying over the sides. Whatever happens, Avi News will be there for you. Keep your eye up here in the sky as we're taking on Beck at this strange construction site. And dude, are you commentating your own war on humanity? What's going on?
Shout out to Mick Wingard, by the way. That's his dub VA. He is really good at his craft. You've probably heard of him if you might have played 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, or perhaps a few of the other projects he's worked on. Heck, he's even gone on to voice Tony Stark in Marvel's What If.
So we got a mid-boss here. This mid-boss and some of its turrets, I think, if we're talking about the PlayStation 3 version, really is where the graphics sort of shine by not shining. It almost looks N64X, where there's a box with a picture of a turret painted on the side of it. So maybe take a look at it once if you want to, maybe not. I do want to call out Tempest. They're using, I keep calling it the Mix Bulldozer, because it is deflecting shots as it goes. It's just defeating enemies, avoiding damage once it gets up to speed. It's just really good at its job.
I do want to shout out Teki Tome for inspiring me to use it more often. Teki Tome is a runner that actually does the game without using the iframe glitch. Not that we have a separate category for it, it's just that they've actually taken the time to make that basically how they run the game, and I very much respect it.
Yeah, you don't need to use that glitch, it's just one of convenience, but oh man. Yeah, that's definitely where you start getting the actual strats of, well, we could actually use this weapon, and it's actually still really good, and we're still going to go really fast, and it's great. This screen JP's on now actually has a huge updraft that brings you up in the air. When you're doing your dash, it actually kind of, I guess, either makes Beck lighter or makes him like more susceptible to air currents. I don't know. But
yeah, it's kind of a moment where we kind of in the midst of talking about everything else, we really didn't talk about the whole mechanic. It's actually you're dealing with the wind mechanics throughout the outer portions of the weather tower. So you got the wind pretty much mostly going against you, so you had to try to navigate that area over pits. Meanwhile, for the aviator fight, as you can see, we're trying to use Counter Shade's weapon. Counter Shade actually pretty strong, even though it has a relatively large ammo consumption. It's pretty much kind of like a deflection seeker weapon, where when it deflects something, it kind of aims for every deflection, and we use that pretty much to take out aviator as quickly as possible. So hopefully we can see JP just continue to use those shots and just destroy aviator whenever it sees fit, assuming you don't miss. Once again, this weapon, Counter Shade's weapon, uses a lot of ammo, so missing is something you really don't want to do.
That was so close on my end with Shade, by the way.
Horrible.
Oh, shout out to Steve Bloom. Continuing the whole Marvel trend, Steve is also known for voicing Marvel's Wolverine on occasion, and also best known for Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. This game's also trying to occasionally throw in some cutscenes to tell its own plot, and yeah, basically that stuff. We are obviously skipping the stuff. Also, you might have noticed there's a bit of an interesting quirk with the menu select, the stage select. So it always puts us at Pyro's stage because the game is trying to go from left to right as to which stage you've beaten, which means that if we actually go in like numerical order, then for each stage we beat, our main menu cursor will start on one to the right. This will only really happen like once or something of that sort, because again, weakness order really just matters more to us, but yeah. And also there's a bit of extra menuing for anyone that has the Ray DLC, which is why you had to see me do a bit of extra input before getting to Shade.
Yeah, would you like to tell us about Origin stage?
Welcome to Flame Man stage. Flame Man has a lot. No, wait, this is Mighty Number 9. Seriously though, there's a lot of oil slicks on the floor, which just like our 6th mega friend, a lot of instant kill effects if that oil gets lit on fire, which includes from your explosion weapons. Thanks, Avi. There's also at the end of the stage a lot of silos that come crashing down, just destroying things in the path. Don't get hit by those, by the way. That's going to kill you too. But there's a lot of places to set up the iframe glitch in this stage, and you can kind of see there, dashing right through all of those fireballs. You can use Avi's weapon as a propeller over your head to kind of help out. But yeah, so Mighty Number 1 here does have an instant kill attack. It looks like he got instantly killed though. Avi's weapon is strong. I think normally you can have, it's like either 1 or 2 of those propellers on the screen, but by switching off of the weapon, it's sort of, I believe it makes the game basically forget that you already fired them, and you just get to keep juggling the propellers that kind of create that wind attack that does them in. And you turn what is a little bit of a dicey fight at times into a very trivial fight, just like that.
Gotta make another shout out to yet another person who's voice acted in Marvel stuff, this time being Matthew Mercer. I won't necessarily say who he's done though, but I usually like to reference that he's also best known these days as the Dungeon Master for Critical Role, the very, very, very famously known Dungeons & Dragons web series, and also recently got to do the voice of Vincent in the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth series remake series come Rebirth.
Now we're going to Crossfire stage. It's a hybrid of water and ice stage. We're dealing with the water mechanics right now, and the water is really good for dashing. Apparently, it pretty much makes you so floaty. You can basically infinite dash while you're underwater. But of course, we're done with that, and now we're going to the ice mechanic. But before we go to the ice mechanic, we got to talk about this upcoming Pong mini boss. There is a bit of an issue with this boss in the fact that if you can actually kill it a little too fast, and if you do kill it too fast, the other Pong enemy pretty much becomes for lack of a better phrase, hard to kill. So you pretty much need to do a little bit of a pacing when you're trying to kill that mini boss. You will fight it again, as you see on JP's screen now. But going back to the ice mechanic for this stage, the thing about the ice mechanic is, as you know, Beck actually has a mechanic where you can actually ledge. You have a ledge grabbing mechanic. When you on ice, you do not have that mechanic. So if you kind of get stuck on the walls and trying to grab corners, you can't do it. So proper platforming is pretty much need to be done in order to navigate the second half of the stage until we get to Cryo here. Of course, we got Power Gen's weapon. It's the usual case of fire defeating ice or melting the ice. So Power Gen's weapon, you can actually charge it for a much stronger blast, a stronger and bigger blast, but that will take too long. So we're pretty much doing a DPS race here, where you're doing a bunch of smaller blasts in order to beat Cryosphere as quickly as possible. Of course, JP, being the beast that he is able to do it in quick fashion, taking care of that stage, and that should be all our mighty numbers completed.
Yep. That's 8 robots.
Of the best stage.
JP, I got way too many this just ins.
Yep, same.
Thanks, Audi.
So this stage, one of our Kickstarter goal stages. Cab, if you would so please.
I guess I can call it. So, at this point in the game, you have your choice of 2 stages. They've kind of started figuring out, oh, we got to check in these 2 places to see what's really going on here. So they decide to split up. If Beck is our Rockman analog, then Call is Roll. Call has a buster. It's actually very serviceable as far as this game goes. It's not that strong, but you know, side character. That's fine. But we don't have that accelerate ability. So defeating enemies becomes kind of getting in their face and mashing and mashing and mashing some more and hoping for the best. It's not fun. That said, she's got some decent movement. She's got a little jetpack to kind of mimic our air dash that also gives us a slow fall effect later on. That's kind of limited by the meter we have on the screen here. So dodge the enemies for 5 minutes. Let's go. And I do like that there's it's here and in Cryogen stage. There is the little TV in the background, so you can kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, to piggyback on the Buster situation for Call, as you can see, because of that lack of acceleration dash, the method of Call just trying to get through these kill rooms can be a bit of a slog, but of course that's probably the point of this being here to begin with. And as you can see, if you can get in close range, enemies that would be like damage sponges, like this big boy in here, get up in his face, do a good mash, get to his stun state, you can actually still do some pretty quick work.
Yep. Call's Buster is like limited to 1 shot on the screen, but it doesn't have a fire rate limitation beyond that. So as long as you're at point blank range, you can mash everything. She does have a shield. I forgot all about that. But then they give you a spike drop section there. My goodness.
That shield is only good for basic projectiles anyway. Like the kind that appears like orange diamonds, you can only really use it for that.
And then we have this little doggo here. This fight is probably the reason, another one of those reasons why, even though we got this stage to Kickstarter, a fantastic goal, by the way, we didn't need this boss. It's very long, it's a slog, you're pretty much at the mercy of RNG here, which unfortunately JP did get. Those boxes that come in, they can either have center robots, which repairs the eye for, I like to call Velgarderp, a little joke of a nod to our Mega Man X Sigma doggo here. Not in the good sense, by the way. But yeah, these boxes that you see, but the boxes that you see come in, they either begin security box or bombs. You would like to see bombs, but unfortunately for our first 2 boxes, we got security drones. So our dog boss here right now is becoming a little bit of a tedium at the current moment.
So the first 4 boxes are set. 2 bombs, 2 eyes, and then I don't know what happens after 10, but then you can get either one. And if you get a bomb as a 5th, it's good. If you get an eye as a 5th, you lose. Pretty much.
Yeah, this is the kind of casino you don't want to see, basically.
So next one is gonna be a bomb.
I will say, Creed, I actually didn't realize you were saying Velgar Derp this whole time. I thought it was the old guard Derp. Which honestly both
RNG time.
It's always Velgarder. Gotta get the things settled and balanced. Listen up, Tempest. You gotta perk up your ears a little bit.
Look, I've been running this for like how many years now? Nah, I think the game also decided to punish my moment of, what's the word, insolence by having me knock back into the spikes. Oh yeah, just in case it wasn't mentioned, anytime that we are in the middle of an acceleration dash, if we take a hit, our knockback greatly increases. So it's a bit of it's intended as a risk-reward system, but in our case, it's usually a lot riskier.
I think that was called.
Doing our good old yeah boy impression, celebrating Call's victory as we do get more plot. Of course, once again,
I forgot about that one.
Of course, we're ignoring the plot, and now with Call done, now we're going on the back side of things.
Oh,
Jack is at an abandoned
we
factory.
probably didn't mention that when it comes to ice and oil physics, JP and I actually want to try dashing on it without holding a single direction. For some reason, this is much faster. And also the run itself is, well, you noticed how we have results screens. The community clocks in times through IGT by adding all these times up. This does come at a bit of a catch-22 though. This is practically the only accurately known way to time the game, which means if for some reason we lose the results time that we're currently going off of, be it a stage retire or a game over, then the run is invalid. Luckily, on normal difficulty, there's an option that allows us to change the starting lives that we have, and so JP and I usually go, and most runners really, we usually set it to the maximum 9, and unusually enough, the game always has you start with 9 even if you've lost a few lives in the last stage. I don't understand why they felt that this was necessary, but it's not the worst thing, unlike dying, which I just did.
Meanwhile, we pretty much have a stage that Beck is going through right now on JP's side. Mr. Cal, would you like to give us a brief synopsis of what's going on right now?
Well, if we go all the way back to stage 1, we fought this construction robot. Except now we have weapons, so it just dies that much faster. This whole factory stage that we're in kind of this is our de facto castle stage. And as you might be noticing, there's lots of really weird, cool traps here that force you to make use of all the weapons you've gotten along the way. Switches for doors that, you know, are only open for a short period of time. You have to shoot up and down to get them. So, like, your timed detonation of the mines comes into play. Using obvious propellers to fall slowly comes into play. It's just a cool stage in a lot of ways. Then we get our kill screen here where we can see all the mighty numbers going to work and just taking care of some business here.
Yeah, one of those times that we joke that this is basically quote unquote our robot master rush. But instead we got our robot masters rushing the stage in this whole kill screen here. And I believe this area is pretty much automatically timed, so it's pretty much more of a survival room rather than a kill screen room.
So, I think some people should know some of the interesting ways you can customize playing this game. let's start with the amount of dubs that you can choose between. So we have an English dub and a Japanese dub, as per usual. However, uniquely enough, this game has also got a French dub, which I have actually done a marathon run or two with, and it is pretty funny, especially hearing Bat just hopping around. Like, whenever he does those leaps, he's always saying, "Go, go, go! Go, go, go!" And I just cannot understand that for the life of me. But man, that dub has quite a bit of character to it. And then there's also a different sort of soundtrack that you can get going. There's a retro soundtrack that you can choose to use, and I believe most of the songs, if not all of the songs from the Mighty Number 9 side of things, got repurposed into the later game Mighty Gunvolt Burst, because for those unaware, while this was a project by Keiji Inafune's at the time company Concept before it got officially absorbed into a level 5 subsidiary, as in the same people behind Ni no Kuni and Yokai Watch, through the development, that was Inti Creates, who you may recall for the Mega Man Zero, CX games, and later on their own Gunvolt franchise, which, admittedly, they are mostly known to make non-2.5D games, so I can understand why this certainly must have been a struggle for them. But I will say they are a great developer, and they actually just released their latest game, Umbra Claw, which came out on May 30th, so if you'd like to try out an action game where you play as a cat, I highly recommend it.
In the meanwhile, we'll talk about the boss of the Robot Factory later, since JP decimated, and we're actually onto our final stage, which is the Coliseum that we first saw in the very beginning of the game. Unfortunately, it kind of took a little bit of a turn, and now we're seeing these cells pretty much mutating all over the place, where we're actually about to see our culprit of these little cell mutations here. But of course, first and foremost, we got to get through the stage, and this stage probably boasts some of the trickiest platforming, especially these particular platforms that JP is shooting, as you can see on the screen. Those platforms, you gotta give them a certain amount of damage for those to actually form. They can be destroyed if you hit them too much, and they will stay off the screen until Beck is at a considerable distance, so they can kind of like reform. So of course, on JP's end, he's managing during those, at the same time trying to get through those sections as quickly as possible before we get to our auto scrolling here.
What's a game without an elevator fight? Gotta have one, right?
Gab, when are you gonna run Mega Man X8 again? I'm joking, obviously.
Too many other games.
I'm joking.
If in X8's defense, that is the best elevator music in Mega Man games.
Oh, hard agree, hard agree.
Jacob Sage's music is way too strong.
Paul, can you please grab the ledge?
But yeah, as we see through the elevator section, we find out our plot point is that an old creation of Dr. White's in Trinity is the one that is the main culprit of these cell absorptions, and Beck is tenderly kind of like the quote-unquote perfected model of the same technology that Trinity was trying to be built for. So what Beck is going to do in a matter of moments, because we're about to approach that fight now, we got to stop Trinity from continuing to absorb those cells and con all the corruption that's causing these other robots to go pretty much berserk.
This is kind of lovingly joked as the Purple Devil. And like every Mega Man Devil boss, well, you try to one-cycle it.
Yeah.
Still a pretty good clip of damage there, and we should be done during this attack. Pretty much every pattern, it sort of shoots energy out and then sucks it back in. And when it's about halfway down there, once almost the core being exposed as a result of that, that's the strat. Just hit it with bombs. Conveniently enough, the most useful weapon we had in the first place.
You can use ice as a backup also, which I do, make it more consistent.
Yeah, Cryo's weapon does deal sort of like chip damage whenever it freezes an enemy. So even if you can't hit it yourself, like even when it goes invincible, it'll still deal the damage as long as it's encased in the ice.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we got our second phase of our literal Pretty Little Flower Trinity here. You pretty much got to take down the segments to get to the point, kind of where, oh well, actually, time is almost coming up for JP. Once the orb gets touched in the middle of the screen, that will be time on JP's end. And that's time.
GG, man.
Thanks. How are you doing?
I think I saw strategic not entering the second sort of desperation phase there to let that flower pattern happen.
I'm still on Velgarder.
Oh.
It's all good. We'll see how this goes.
I'm gonna look up the screen soon.
Yep, no problem. I do apologize though that my timer is showing the is looking dark right now. I guess that has to do with my splits, which are currently running with live split right now. So yeah, not much I can do about that one right now.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
We got a bomb.
That's
Yeah,
good.
kind of have a have a little bit of a time there, Tempest, but we had to put down the doggo, and one more time on Sonda's in.
Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah, boy!
Yeah, boy! That's good.
But yeah, once again, taking down the president where we find one of our questionable antagonists. Questionable, but you gotta look at the plot for yourself. We're ignoring the plot. But yeah, back to the robot factory where we could probably put a little bit more focus on how the stage works. But yeah, Cav pretty much just hit the nail on the head about how the stage works. You pretty much just using all your abilities to get through what is pretty much a pretty complex stage. Pretty much using as many weapons as possible to open doors, get rid of insta-kill objects, taking care of enemies, just using all your abilities to get through and navigate the stage as quickly as possible.
And like this section, Avi's weapon, we don't get to see enough of it in action because we get it so late. But just as this ability to like hold it up over your head and get a high jump with the extra propeller height, which is very nice. It sits there, it keeps that door open. Maybe we'll see the slow fall here. Avi, of course, flying in, smartly using the foreground. I don't know why we don't use the foreground, but get here. First robot, I think even also you can get an idea of what's coming for the dastardly button at the end of the stage.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about the button as we had other discussions going on, but nothing wrong with a good aside. But that is the miniature version of the dastardly button that we're going to be facing at the end of the stage. And once again, using our weapons to get to work. Once again, Counter Shade's weapon, very strong, very high weapon consumption though, but it literally just tags on anything that's on the screen, deflecting and trying to hit anything that comes nearby. Very strong weapon, almost basically puts enemies at an instant dash absorbing state. So stuff
it
like
really
that.
It really is the final
you...
form of the Gemini laser. Just bounces right after everything.
Oh, just before he got on the ceiling too. Thank God.
Nice.
Brandish's weapon also really good.
Yeah, that thing deals the most damage.
Yeah, I read that too.
at the very least, it was by a checkpoint.
Yep.
Do you have any extra commentary now that you're finished with your side of the run, JP? Any extra insight?
Well, not much to say. It was a decent about. I think this is the best marathon run I've ever had. I don't think I've had a 31 IGT on a marathon, so I'm very happy about that.
Congrats.
So, thanks. That was a really good couple hiccups here and there, but yeah. I haven't touched this game that much. I was way more worried about other games for this marathon.
Yeah,
It
I
shows
watched it.
the good old memory reflexes are still relatively decent.
Yeah, I've spent so much time with this game. This is definitely the game I've ran the most, I think. So.
I still remember this is how I got introduced to you in the first place. Shout out to Strider's Game Over Cancer, of course.
I think it was Pixels for People, because it was the first marathon I ever did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I haven't done this on a Game Over Cancer, so...
Actually, can we just give a quick shout out to our wonderful doggo friendo Carter Freak, who helped set us up earlier before the run?
Definitely.
Pixels for People is Carter's marathon, hence why the shout out was seemed opportune, if you will.
Yeah.
You're here.
Other than that, I can provide some info on stuff now with you guys. If I get something to say. You're doing your perfect check. Nah, you can keep on going.
Yeah, Cab, you were talking about our Dashly button here.
So this was, if we had Velgar Derp in the previous one, this is something resembling D-Rex, I guess. Sort of, kind of.
It does an apt comparison.
If you reduce it down to the car frame, we get to stand in front of this button here. And this button works like every other robot, and it's weak to ice, which is good because we haven't gotten to use ice as a weakness weapon yet. But here we go.
Ooh,
yes!
The ice it chipped
yes,
barely.
Let's go.
Yeah, because you can see another one was being assembled. If you weren't able to defeat that button in a short amount of time, you will have to deal with another little vehicle like that. And of course, since it's low health, you had to deal with a desperation phase as well. So you really would need to one cycle that button.
Yeah,
I like
you're
to
dancing Macarena for 30 seconds or something.
dance the Macarena on his end. I call it the Impact Jail of Mighty Number 9. Shout out to Mega Man 11.
Yeah, final stage.
All right.
into the Coliseum.
Indeed. I still think this is a pretty cool level overall, and it's also interesting that the final gauntlet room of the game starts off this stage, which I can't really think of a lot of Mega Man games that would, like, do that sort of thing, so... Yeah, honestly, Mighty Number 9 has despite, like, the many faults of its development period, this game does a few things in its own way that I very much respect it for.
Yeah, a lot of the bad press that this game, while it's rightfully self-inflicted, we're not getting it completely twisted. Concept really dropped the ball on a lot of things, and unfortunately gave us kind of a mediocre product. But for what we got within this mediocre product, it's still pretty serviceable and salvageable. So, I'd say for those that have not played this game yet and still kind of are wary, even during its relatively lengthy lifespan, it had to been at least over 5 years, I still say give it a shot once. But as we alluded to earlier, do not play this on a Wii U or a PS3. Avoid those versions at all costs.
In all fairness, you can't really buy the Wii U version digitally anymore because the eShop closed down for the Wii U.
Right, true.
The PS3, though, I'm assuming that's still fair game. Well, maybe.
It's more if you actually see a physical copy. Don't even touch those for those consoles.
In all fairness, Cab, I did start off on Xbox One with the physical disc, and that only cost me like $2 or something.
Well, I meant though like the PlayStation 3 and the Wii U one specifically.
That can you not?
Like, yeah, I've got physical copies. I think I've got a PS4 disc sitting around somewhere. It runs all right.
Yeah, I started with the PS3 version. Had to deal with that chugging. Got a PS4 eventually, mostly for Mega Man 11. But I did have the physical copy of Mighty Number 9. I think it was digital as well. Now thinking about it.
I also have physical on the PS4 and played on PS5. It works wonderfully.
I just realized I could just hang here if I wanted to.
If you don't want to get the invincibility, or did you get it already?
No, not yet. But like, it would have taken enough time. It would have taken a bit of time anyhow. Let's try it.
Oh yeah, you also have already the E-tank, whatever.
I should probably use that. Nah, actually, no. You know what? I'm not risking it.
Yeah, you wanna save it for Trinity.
Yeah, but then also I could. That means I gotta play very carefully on the rest of the way up.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Because I'm not. I don't see that. I don't see the glitch pulling through for me. Not at all.
Here we go. Here goes.
Oh, that's a health though. You know what? I'm going for it.
Yeah, quickly.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take the bottom route for that though. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, surprise, surprise, this elevator will eventually fall. If you do nothing, it will just drop, and then you have to die from the pit below. So, a bit of an unfortunate move. Okay, there we go. Sheesh.
I use Zavi here so I can get enough height from this to be able to
I
get
normally
that
would
platform.
too, but like, I don't know, man.
Nah.
I know this is not gonna PB, I just want to finish the run. I think that's all there is to it.
Finished marathon run's a good one.
Yep.
You're looking pretty good, I still think.
Yeah, despite all the grief the game's given me today, this wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Alright.
Multiple
1,
phase.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, the way I do this fight is that I'm mashing that, and when it's about to reach the final health bar, I change to cryo and shoot a lot of ice. It usually is enough to finish with in the first phase, but if it does not, it can still give like a half quick kill. Or it just deals some extra damage while saving some bad animal for the next phase.
I just wanted to not risk wasting the, I just didn't want to risk dying there.
Yeah.
Here
Cool.
goes.
The character.
Here goes.
Okay.
You
Nice.
see some DLC
Nice.
some DLC phases from the first Trinity form.
Wait, why is that? Did you see that in the upper right? that graphic that persisted there.
I have to check that out.
That's gonna be interesting. What also happened that I swear has never happened before is on the first 2 stages, I somehow paused the game before I loaded in.
I've done that multiple times. I'm mashing it like crazy every time.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we're about to finish dealing with our pretty little flower form of Trinity. Tempest should be coming up on time very shortly. Well, first things first, kind of need to survive.
Okay.
What can I get?
I can probably afford a single death, but I'll have to make sure it counts. If I don't die, that'll be good. I had to jinx that.
Yeah.
I had to jinx that. Okay.
Darn it.
I'll make this my last attempt, and if that fails, y'all know what to do. This is fine. I guess I'll just take this a little bit normally here. Let's go for it.
You got this, Tempest.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, no, please. Oh, boy.
As a little aside, while Tempest was doing this, I remember my first time doing this boss. The pattern seemed simple, but with the first time I was playing this, I just could not find a way to get this fight done quick enough, and I was struggling for this boss. QTT6, a former early runner of this game, I wound up looking at his record video at one point, trying to find out how to do this thing so I could just get the fight done and over.
Yeah, there were a few thoughts on how to make this fight actually work for a while, but it's just annoying sometimes.
Yeah, Trinity really doesn't play around. She truly is the great equalizer.
I've also seen like someone do this thing in the first phase, like the big ball gets stuck on one of the smaller balls as it's falling down, and you can just destroy it there and there. You don't have to wait for it to go inside a wall, or you'd like you're gonna have to do this flower phase at all. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how it works, but apparently it's possible. It can happen.
Yeah, we're seeing
You can
here a
also
little bit too, where just mashing Brandish's weapon tends to just leave Beck invulnerable for some reason.
I'm finishing. Let's go.
Let's go, GG.
All right.
Oh,
One more Mick for the road. And that's gonna
And drop
be time.
GG.
GG's.
GG.
Woo! Yeah, I will say this much. When I was asked if I wanted to race with JP, I said, yeah, let's do it. Because, for one, I've only raced this with somebody else once, and I still enjoyed the heck out of racing the game, so, you know, I'm grateful for the opportunity, and even if this was far from my best performance, I'm still so glad to show this off with one of the best runners of the game, and yeah, not much really else to it, so I guess quick shout out to the mighty number 9 speedrunning community. We do have a Discord server, which if you'd like to join, our link is attached to the MN9 leaderboard. And just a big thank you to all people who ran this game in the past. We've had folks like Zonorous, the Bobby, Cab, we've had Randomize, and, you know, just anyone that's contributed a record to this game. Thank you so much. You're basically what allowed me to get started with this run, and I always am thankful for that.
Yeah, good shout outs to commentators also. Thank you so much for joining and making this
We always
very
love
memorable
having you.
race.
Yeah,
is
may
worth
not be
it.
a runner, but I'll definitely always support this game. It's a gem, more of a gem than people may realize.
Yeah, absolutely.
So true.
Well, before we sign off, I will say for anybody that has not had enough of me yet, good news, I will be running Mega Man Extreme 2 later in the evening, so feel free to check that out. I'm actually going to be doing this on the Japanese version on an official cartridge for the first time, so looking forward to doing that. JP, I believe this was your last run of the schedule, though?
Nope. Tomorrow, second last run is actually a race of Spurdo D with me and Godo Hunter, so you'll see even more of me, and that will be my fourth and final run then.
Heck yeah. Yeah, please support the heck out of jphpue. This man is one amazing runner in my book and always will be.
Staying back to you.
Oh, shucks.
Support Tempest.
All right.
Oh.
Well, thanks, Ahmad, for this race, and take us away, I guess.